Okay, so hello and welcome back everyone. Today I'm Kevin C, and I'm very sorry today I'm using a shit tripod, so you might hear some creaking sounds from a tripod which used to not be here because I'm using this Chinese tripod, not the normal Manfrotto that I usually use here. Okay, so today what I have here is essentially a Model 901 keyboard. I actually have two of these. One of them is in front of you right here, yeah? So this one in front of you has the ABS single shot keycaps, which I think come stock. They should have come stock because they're more cheap to produce. Two, I know these things were made in Indonesia and exported to the Czech Republic, but this thing says made in Taiwan. So, oh shit. Okay, so see, you can see made in Taiwan. Shit, what the heck do I even zoom it in? Let's focus. Hopefully that's in focus here, but it does say made in Taiwan. And I think it is in focus. Okay, yeah, so as you can see, I've added some feet in the back. Because this thing has no rear feet, this thing only has two flip out feet with some indentation here, yeah? But no rubber, no sticky stuff, which I think means no rubber also. And this thing is also pretty, what you call this thing, worn down. It has these black like stripes, like lines, which I think means that this thing had an option for rubber, but they did not come with rubber. And the front feet are also new rubber, because this thing came with some broken plastic foot. Let me show you, yeah? So this thing came with this, which is some plastic foot thingy, which is cracked everywhere and it's very slippery, see? So that's gonna be no good if you actually wanna use the keyboard like with your palms resting on it or something like that, yeah. Like I sometimes put my palm like this, yeah, and this just pushes the keyboard everywhere. Or even if you're doing this, it might just push the keyboard everywhere. And these things I assume are made in like, I don't know, like 1990 something. Obviously not the 2000s, because the 2000s had Windows. I think this thing's pre-1995, because 1995 Windows came out and they actually had Windows buttons. This thing does not have one. Let me go show you my second one, yeah? So I have a second one, which is this one. This one has PBT keycaps, double shot. I think made by Taihao. Honestly, this thing is okay enough, pretty good. Some are still the originals, like this guy, the ESC, shit, the backspace, and this thing. They're like single shot keycaps, and these things all PBT. These things, modifiers, these guys, PBT, arrows, everything, except for the space, ESC and this guy are PBT. And let me go mute my phone to shut it up. And then, okay, so what else can I say about this thing? Oh yeah, these things have two different types of Alps. So they're both Alps keyboards with some plastic plates, which means that they're pretty soft naturally. Back on, see, you can actually see the back flex in this guy and this guy. They actually do flex under your pressure, but they do not flex like hell, which would be crazy and untypable essentially. So they do flex, and the boards are like somehow wonky, which is why the space bar is like more, higher on this side than this side. But this thing has no rattle, see? Once I put some grease, zero rattle, zero rattle, zero, there's some rattle on here. Zero rattle, zero, zero, and zero. And this guy, slight bit, near zero, almost zero, enters completely quiet, zero is here, quiet, enter, pretty quiet, plus, also pretty quiet. So these things are quite nice in the terms of stabilizer, because stabilizer are actually built into the what you call this thing? Into the plate. So where the switches hook in, they actually molded some stabilizer clips, essentially, yeah. This guy is one that I fixed, so this thing actually like half cut off. Half like the top half actually was on there, but the bottom half was like sort of broken. So I had to like melt the thing down, glue it down and stuff like that. But in the end it still works pretty well. And as for switches, this thing has Alps. This thing has Taihao Alps, Taihao APC, the old ones, yeah. So these things still have the big click leaf like the original Alps. this guy has some Alps OA2 switches, which are, let's see, the tie holes are way more scratchy than the OA2s. When they came in, they all binded, so when you're typing on an angle like this, the time of the dust, I've cleaned all of these out, yeah, so they're essentially new. These things sure sound a bit louder than this guy, but this guy is a bit, I'd say, less okay to use, less fun to use, less, not really fun, like how the heck would you feel fun? I mean, wait, this thing feels a bit more, tactile. So, if you haven't tried the OA2 Alps, or the, what you call these things? What the fuck do you call these things? Taihao APC Alps, you might have tried SKBM Alps. So these are SKBM whites, OA2 Alps, and what you call this thing? Fuck. Taihao APC Alps. See? So these things are quite a lot louder than these guys, even if this thing has some PBT keycaps and not ABS, because I feel like ABS sometimes like it amplifies the sound, while PBT sort of like pushes the sound down and like holds it in. See? And as for tactility, as for the comparison to real SKCM Alps, which are the vintage Alps, I have vintage Alps in my Chiconi KB5161. Let me go take it off for you. So, I have my Chiconi, which is gonna be sitting here essentially. So this thing's also been cleaned out. Only this thing has no board, so it's essentially printed, yeah. So SKCMs, SKPM Alps, OA2 Alps, and Taihao APC Alps. So, as for tactility, I'd have to give the crown to this guy. This thing's really tactile, so sometimes you actually don't get to push the switch. So it's like, oh man, you fail to push it, and then you put something else. For example, you want to type who. You're typing who at this. Wait, not who. Let's say R. So it's like A, R, E. Then sometimes you actually press A, but you don't press fully because you don't actually have the strength in your side fingers like this. I mean, you're not prepared for it. So, I mean, I got the strength. Yeah, I can actually push A, but sometimes you actually only push it slightly because of the fact that you feel like you're gonna type on something normal with like no super tactile crazy bump. Then you like don't press A, press R and E. So it's like re. Then you gotta delete the re and type R. And there's another problem with deleting. So these vintage keyboards pre-1995, see this guy also, they do not have what you call this thing? A large and backspace key. So something like the KB Paradise V60 would have a backspace key like this, which is, I'd assume, 2 units. Same as also on the KB Paradise V60 with Matthias Alps, which has 2 units backspace. These old guys only have 1 backspace unit. So honestly, I'd say if you're gonna type a lot and are not used to having 1 unit for your backspace, I'd steer away from these guys. Although they actually type quite nicely, backspace is really fucked up. So I like to press backspace somewhere around here, somewhere around. Let's see where the shining is. This thing's not shining because I've not used it that much. About here, I think. I have to press it about here, around the middle of the backspace, right thing right here. Yeah. And that in these keyboards means I'm pressing essentially on this key and half on the backspace. So sometimes I actually press these two together and nothing happens. And I'd be like, what the heck's happening? Then I press only the backspace with my like normal fingers like my pointer or my middle finger, press it down, and then it just erases the text. So if you're not used to it, I'd still clear away, because these guys are not very, I'm not gonna say not user friendly but they're not very easy to adapt to. I've used these guys for a few days already, yeah, and I'm still not accustomed to having the backspace way over here. I mean, I'm now more inclined to using my pinky to like pull the backspace. So I find this ridge and I pull it down like this sometimes. So that usually work. But sometimes I really do feel like I'm using this guy or something like that, more than one, yeah. And I just push here, see, like this, which is not good. As for big guys enters, these guys have one stabilizer. There's only one. On the Chiconi, it actually has one over here and one over here, yeah. One vertical, one horizontal. These guys only have one horizontally and one like cylinder, where you actually have like a piston in the keycap. So the keycap has like a piston. There's like a small, what you call this thing? Like a small cylinder thing, yeah, essentially. So when you press on the keycap, it does this inside the cylinder, and so that's why it doesn't like wobble that much, but it is quite heavy. And also it binds. It binds when you're pressing it on an angle, especially on like this top bit. So if it goes down like this, it'll bind and it'll not come up. So what I've done is I put some grease, which then made this thing, see, quite a lot dampen. See, dampen quite a lot. Look at the speed that this thing comes up, yeah. See, quite fast on the shift, yeah. But enter is actually quite a bit slower. It's like, not like, see. So that is why I do not like this back. Enter, I mean, this thing has no problems. Only it feels quite odd, especially being a clicky one, yeah. Because if you have a clicky one, you actually feel like this thing's clicking, and somehow it's like so slow to come back up. If this thing was linear, I'd be maybe a bit more okay with this thing. As for linear boards, these things you can actually convert them, yeah. Stop. Like that. So you can actually convert them to linear by taking the click leaf out. So essentially you open this thing, you open and you pry the bottom clip, top clip, and pull the thing out without soldering it. So these things I have not soldered a single thing on these two. Lights all work on these two, which is not very common in old keyboards. They actually use a 5-pin DIN port right here, yeah. So they actually use this huge barrel connector right here, and fuck, that means you actually have to buy one of these. I'm actually selling some of these on my store for 50,000 rupiah. So that's okay. I mean, you can actually buy these things somewhere else in Indonesia, yeah. But if you actually buy one of these, I'm actually selling this with the thing. So that's why you can get it from me. I mean, that's why I'm actually selling these things, because like, why the heck would you even sell cables, man? Cables are like so small that they actually always get lost, and that's why I always plug them in. So this thing has one that's plugged in my PC. I also have one that's plugged into this thing every single day, like 24/7, even though this thing's in a plastic bag most of the time. Why that is because of the fact that I'll lose them if I don't do that. Let's make sure this guy goes in. Who the fuck did this thing go in? What the heck? Let's push it in. Okay, there it goes. See? That works. And for Windows 10, yeah, these are pretty fucked up on Windows 10. So Windows 10, this thing did not want to work when it first came. So I was like, what the heck, man? Power lights go on, everything else does not respond. Caps lock, scroll lock, num lock do not turn the lights on. Now they actually do turn the lights on. This, yeah, see? If you can actually see them there. But when they came, they did not. And that's because of the fact that you have to go into reg. I mean, either reg edit or reg edit, you might call it different things. Essentially, it's the registry editor from Windows 10. So you must go to some odd, let's see, place, which is in like local system and stuff like that. Yeah. So let's go to registry editor. Yes, and as you can see, you have to go to this address. So you have to go to like, fuck, come on, let's focus. You have to go to computer/hkey local, I mean hkey_local_ machine /system /current control set /services /i8042prt. Then you have to go to this start thing right here, yeah. And once you go into start, you wanna go modify, and then you wanna, this thing is set to default by 3, yeah. So this thing is gonna be 3, you wanna make this thing 1. And once you've made it 1, this thing will work after restart. So don't be like shocked when these things do not work, because that is what it is. Then let's focus back down on these keyboards, yeah. So let's see what else can I talk about these guys. As for typing feel, I have actually felt okay enough with these guys. I felt nothing negative, although when I first got them, they were binding pretty badly, and binding is not a good thing. So let me go explain to you what binding is if you're not accustomed to hearing what binding is. Yeah. So binding is essentially when you want to press on something, and because your fingers are here mostly, yeah. Sometimes you want to press Q. Q you actually press sometimes with the pinky finger or this finger, for example. Yeah. And sometimes you actually press this thing on an angle like this, like towards that side. And if these things are binding or dusty, Alps are famous of doing this. They actually do bind. So like they stick on the corner right here, and they do not want to get pressed down. And that in the end will hurt your typing speed, typing accuracy, and also feeling of the board. Because like who the heck would want to like type and every single 5 characters you had to like move 5 more to actually go back and fix that one character that you did not type in. That's a bad thing. So next, what else? Oh yeah, double click. These things are pretty fucked up in many ways when it comes to like salvaging them and making them work like they should. These two are normal right now, yeah, but when they came, they all double click. Like double clicking is essentially chattering. So chattering is like when the switch plate, you push down the switch plate, this thing connects this guy. So the two contacts actually connect like this, yeah. But then when they connect, sometimes they actually like half connect. So it's like super slightly connecting like this. Then they have to like arch and stuff like that. And then in the end, you actually input 2 or 3 characters in one keystroke, which is bad. Then sometimes you also don't click, which was a problem in these two, yeah. So these two are essentially the same thing. So they have like this semi-square circle-ish thingy for a switch plate, which then has like one little pin right here, yeah, which connects the back switch plate, and then that completes the circuit. And let me just say that it's not the best way to like make one of these switches. They ping a lot. The OA2 is less than the Thai house, but they do ping a lot because the fact that they're like held in by 2 small pins. That means 2 small posts like this, yeah. And then these 2 small posts are holding like one huge click leaf each. I mean not click leaf, what you call it? It's like click registering plate thingy. So like why the heck would they come away from the SKCM, yeah? But yeah, there you go. So for cost reasons. So pinging, I do not really care about pinging, but some people will. I used to care about pinging, so I actually looped some springs of my old keyboards, yeah. But also my Thermaltake Poseidon, that's under my bed now because I'm not using it. But I also looped the whole thing because that's Cherry MX Red, and Cherry MX Reds ping a lot, like a ton. They actually bother your ears, yeah. These things, because they're clicky, I don't really care at all. They don't impact typing in any single way. And because of the fact that they're pinging on the switch plate, so you're gonna have to loop the switch plate. So imagine that, yeah. So you're gonna loop the switch plate, and if your loop is non-conductive, it will not register a click, and you're gonna have to clean up the switch plate. If it does connect and your loop turns out to be conductive, one day when you put these things under some heat, like for example you have a hair dryer and you're using the hair dryer right here, yeah. I'm not a girl, I do not use hair dryers, but sometimes you might have a heat gun or something like that. Or maybe also be soldering. Like soldering over here usually, yeah. I'd have this numpad quite close to the solder iron, and maybe, just maybe, the grease just gets a little bit wet and like connects, and who knows, yeah. So then you'll have like one infinitely stuck key, which is not a good thing. And as for usage, these things do not have Windows key, and they do not have FN. So as you can see, oh, it doesn't play. Okay, so this thing has a song playing essentially. And in other keyboards, you actually have like FN sampling to actually make the sound play. So it's like in this game, Paradise V60, you have FN and X. That's like pause and play for songs. As for these guys were made in some era that PCs probably did not have any songs to play, and that's why there's no FN layer. So no FN, no backlight, no Windows key. As for Windows key, you actually use Control and Escape at the same time, and that will be the what you call this thing? Like shortcut for Windows. So if you don't have Windows key, you can do this, or if your normal keyboard has a dead Windows key, you can actually also do this, and that'll make Windows pop out. For screenshots, also the same thing. So screenshot, usually you click Windows and print screen. Now you actually click Control, Escape, and print screen at the same time, which is a bit of a hassle, but I don't really care. I think that's probably it from what I'm seeing on these keyboards. They actually do have like this coil cables, which is pretty nice, because as you can see, I have like this cable over there, yeah? And that is connected to the CPU on the bottom, and now it actually is springy, so I can actually pull this thing here, like over here, and push it over there without having to like have a huge cable lying in there, yeah? So yeah, it's pretty much done. How many minutes is this video? 21 minutes, what the heck? Okay, so thank you everyone for watching, hope you like it, and goodbye.